Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick. Happy Sunday. Happy top of the week. Hope that whatever you were striving to accomplish on last week, that you got it done. If not, that you made progress in it. And if not, again, understand that if you are still breathing, you're still in the fight. This is about finishing. This is about choosing the things in life that are important to you, the things that you want to leave behind as a legacy that you accomplished, that you established, that you presented to those who will follow you as your descendants, as followers, or whatever, and commit to it and then finish it. As the title says, today we're talking about the importance of understanding that future outcomes are the result of present choices. Decisions you make now are going to manifest themselves in tangible ways moving forward. The way you think today, the way you talk today, the choices you make, people you choose to be around, people you reject, opportunities you seize, opportunities you reject, are all going to be reflected in your future outcome. So you have to understand that no matter how insignificant a moment may appear, it has a place by way of manifestation in your future. Before I finish that, I want to share with you guys real quickly. I'm excited because we're in a transitional phase. We've been that way for about a year now. We are coming to the end of this transitional phase of moving from one primary way of delivery, one-on-one, to products and services that are deemed to reach larger markets. But I am still going to be doing one-on-ones. I'll tell you about that later on today. But right now, we just did our AI webinar, which was an introduction into AI, A to Z, generative AI, open AI, machine learning, and all of the different ways that it's going to impact us. We're talking about a technology that Goldman Sachs predicts will replace approximately 300 million jobs globally over the next 18 months or so. And that means we're going to have to reinvent ourselves, reskill ourselves, redevelop ourselves, represent ourselves. But that's an awesome opportunity because it gives us chance for more ownership. It gives us chance for more engagement. We're in a process and place and space where it's more difficult to reject us because of our race and our philosophies and our faith and our beliefs. And it means that we can literally get out there and make something happen, but we're going to have to be aggressive in doing so. So we did the webinar, and I'm excited to announce that we have created, and we're launching the course in the week. We opened registration on yesterday. I want you to be able to take this thing and become certified. I run an academy that is nationally accredited by way of Crystal Rain Institute, by way of the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill. So we are accredited, and those certifications carry a little bit more weight. But what you're going to learn, even if you don't have a certification, when you're able to display the knowledge that you know to potential clients and customers, and they understand what you're bringing to them, is great. But the certification definitely helps. But just being able to use it in developing and building your own space. There are so many different places that this thing can show up and present an opportunity for you to generate wealth. So I'm offering you opportunity now to sign up for this course. There are 3 bonuses that come with this course. The first is a 7-day online business launch course. I've been talking about this for 2 years. If you don't have a minimum of 2 independent streams of income that you control, that nobody can't lay you off from, that no one can fire you from, no one can say we no longer need you, that if you wake up and you work it, it'll come back to you in returns based on direct correspondence and correlation to the amount of energy, effort, time you put into it, then you need to be taking this course because it's a blueprint of what I've done over the last 13 plus years in establishing more than 20 plus entities online that generate revenue. And what I've taught countless clients in multiple countries to do. This is the blueprint, and it's regularly $5.99. If you sign up for the AI course, you'll get that free. You'll also get the Mind Unleashed course. If you understand and you know me, you follow me for any time, I am real big on the power of the mind. The power of the mind controls your thinking, your words, your self-talk, your thoughts are going to have a massive influence on the outcome of your life, because that's the basis of your behavior. As a man thinketh, so is he. Your thoughts are literally the seeds of your destiny. And the Mind Unleashed is a powerful course that helps you get rid of the forces of procrastination, crushing. It helps you overcome limiting beliefs, crush limiting beliefs. It helps you develop a positive and focused vision. That's a $599 course. We're going to give you that free. Another thing that I've offered and created is a personalized success plan through our Ascension uh, uh, center. And what that is literally a personalized plan, a plan that no one else on this planet has, because we take 20 questions, your personality assessment, your DISC assessment, and we create a highly specified and unique plan for you. We're going to give that away free with this as well. Now, if you don't want to take the AI course, which I think everybody should be taking because it's going to be that major, that massive of an influence over the next 5 to 10 years. What you got to understand is AI is growing faster than the internet. It's growing faster than social media. It's growing faster than cell phone technology. Anything that's preceded it, and we say, man, look how far we've come, it's moving faster than that. So it's going to have a massive impact as it grows exponentially over the next 5 to 10 years. It's going to be huge. And the further ahead of the curve you are in being the first to become involved in it, the more you're going to be perceived as an expert in the next 2 to 3 years. And you're going to have an opportunity to anchor yourself in this movement and determine how you're going to identify yourself and how you're going to reskill yourself and how you're going to get a piece of the pie and build your own business, build your own space. This thing is huge. When you take the internet, you take social media, you take underlying technologies that push all these things, and then you put AI with it, there is no limit to what is possible. And I think it's our responsibility as well to push this thing in a direction that's positive, because there's so many things that wrong that you can do with this. So the more people that have character, integrity, good intentions, and the need to grow and improve themselves financially and socially and politically, this is an opportunity to do so. And finally, the 6-month success plan. That's a $99 plan. That's also a link in there. So there are 3 opportunities for you to seize moments. That's basically a part of our end of the month promotional thing. Those offers are for today. If you decide that you want to enroll, definitely do so. But let's talk. And I'm gonna tell you, hopefully after this talk, you see the importance of needing to enroll. Um, it is not uncommon for me to come in contact with people literally on a daily basis that are frustrated with where they are in life. I get it. I am constantly on the move. I am constantly pushing myself. I am constantly challenging myself to be better, to do better, to achieve a higher state of influence, impact, and overall existence in this world. And what that means is I'm constantly challenged by circumstances, by situations. So I'm going through things here and there, and then I overcome, and I see what I've been able to do by perseverance, by a mindset of relentlessness and achieving. But what I can tell you, in 30 plus years of making this my place where I hang my hat, human behavior, human performance, human healing by way of mental state, let me tell you something. If you don't have your mindset, if you don't start choosing to move, start choosing to make decisions, you're going to look up a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and you're going to be reaping the ramifications and repercussions of what you didn't do here. And some people say, well, I don't know. I'm not sure. Let me tell you something. This is my philosophy, and everybody has their own, but this is my philosophy. And I can tell you by having discussions with other people I literally look up to or consider to be successful, it's their philosophy as well. My philosophy is I would rather make the wrong decision than not make a decision at all. I would rather get in the game and figure out, man, I probably should have went left than to stay out of the game trying to figure it out, because there are certain things you're not going to be aware of and understand until you get in the game. It's better to get into the game and say, well, okay, even if you get knocked flat on your back, you know what it is to be in the game now. You get up and say, I got the worst thing just happened. I got knocked flat on the back. I'm still breathing, and I'm no worse for the wear. Get back in there and figure out some more stuff. What happens is you start to learn what knocked you on the back. So the next time you get in, you're aware of it, so it misses you, and you're learning. And there are just certain things you cannot escape in doing in trial and error. Some things you can. Some things you can learn from people that will allow you to get away from having to learn everything. My grandmother used to call it borrowed sense. And then, but she would also say sometimes bought sense is better than borrowed. What was she saying? When you borrow sense, that you take the wisdom of the people who have been there and you learn from it and you use it, and you avoid pitfalls and ditches and hardships and setbacks. Why? Because they're telling you, don't do this, do this, do this. So when I'm creating courses, when I'm creating these things and I'm sharing with you, I'm sharing from a life of experience, a life of expertise on some things to look out for, whether it's mentally, emotionally, psychologically, whether it's in the realm of business or finance, anything that I've had enough time in to develop a level of expertise and understanding of, I can share with you and say, hey, that's probably not a good idea. Or here is the blueprint. Use this and you are going to get a more smoother transition into XYZ. Now, but there are some things, because you need the experience yourself, you're gonna have to buy that. And that means you have to live it out yourself. You have to learn it. You have to take the bumps and the bruises. Both are expensive, but I'm gonna tell you, the people who get onto this world are the ones who understand the power of borrowed sense, the power of borrowed experiences, those who are willing to listen and even invest in taking from those who know where they're going because they've already been there. But what you're going to have to do is get in the game. You're going to have to realize that if I don't get in the game, I can't progress. If I can't progress, I become stagnant. If I become stagnant, other people bypass me. The more people bypass me, the more I get caught up in the throes of those left behind. And it's harder to catch up. And there are things that go along. It's not even about competing with the people who are passing you. It's about understanding the social and financial meaning of that. The more people pass you, the further behind you get in being in a financial situation where you're in control of your life, because those people are consuming opportunities that were meant for you. You were once ahead of them, but they're past you now because you've become stagnant. You're sitting there. You won't move. You're afraid to make a mistake. You're going to make mistakes. One of the biggest mistakes you can make is not taking action. You're going to live out the consequences, repercussions, or rewards of your choices. Now, nobody is perfect. Nobody knows everything. So nobody's going to have this perfect record of decision making. But what I can tell you is the more choices you make, the more you experience, the more you grow, the more you encounter, the better you are at making those decisions. And the better you will become at progressing. And the better you will become at learning how to solve issues that are created by wrong decisions. But when you sit there and don't move, you get nothing. And then you get pushed back by the people waiting or willing to make choices and decisions, willing to take risks. Risk aversion is meant in its purest sense to be a protector against foolish behavior. It's never meant to completely stop you from risking. It's meant to cause you to create and take action based off of calculated risk. There's nothing that you can have or want or desire to do that doesn't come with some level of risk. You're going to have to put some skin in the game. You're going to have to get out there and take some chances in order to achieve something. Hiding in your corner of comfort, trying to sit there and avoid getting knocked down, trying to sit there and avoid getting pushed back will only ensure that you're going to regress in such a slow, progressive way that you'll look up and you've lost ground and you're 5 years behind before you realize you've done it, trying to figure out how did this happen, because you chose not to make a move. You chose to sit still. You chose to play safe. Are you going to find this smooth road of pure utopia where everything you touch turns to gold and nothing ever goes wrong? Absolutely not. It does not exist. But you can get pretty close. But it's going to require a lot of consistent engagement and a willingness to get out there. Here's the other challenge, and then I'll be done. Here's the other challenge. Because of the rapid advancement of technology over the last 25 years, the slow progressive, well, if I don't, or whatever, or I got this thing and I'm good, skill set thing, I got this skill set thing, I'm good, or the I missed the train, I'll catch it next week thing, that's gone now. Here's what's happening. God, I can't think of the guy's name now. And let me see what his name is. So I want to use his name. I think it's Tofu. Alvin Toller. I think it is, but I want to make sure. Yeah, Alvin Toffler. He said that illiteracy in the 21st century will not be the inability to read or write. It will be the inability to learn, unlearn, and relearn in time. And what he is considering when he says this is the rapid pace of how technology is changing. Having been in business my entire life in one way or another, there was a period where you use the same marketing approach year in and year out. You know, how you were going to use TV advertising, radio advertising, print advertising, where you were going to approach it, how you approach your target. That's completely shifted, and it's shifting consistently. Work now, what once was a thing that worked for decades, now literally what worked last year doesn't work this year. So you got to constantly learn and relearn. Same thing with skill sets. Skill sets now are going to have to evolve. You're not going to learn something and say, I'm good at it, and then not have to evolve. Even in the trades, which I am advocating for, get into a trade like auto mechanic, get into a trade like electrician, get into a trade like plumbing. Every last one of those makes six figures. They work with their hands. It's one of the most fulfilling things a man can do is work with his hands. Get into those things. But what I can tell you is what auto mechanics and electricians and plumbers did 25 years ago is done differently now, and it's changing rapidly as technology grows, because technology is infiltrating everything. But what I can tell you is it's still a way to get in. It's one of the least expensive ways to train yourself to make a livable wage and not be in a great deal of debt behind it. But what I'm trying to tell you, even in those skill sets, what you think, man, that is basic, you learn it. Yes, but it's evolving. And then the more technological and advanced in engagement you get, the more rapid the changes are, because the more influential changes become. And so what does that mean? That means you're going to have to get in the mindset of, okay, I'm going to hang my hat on this, but every year I'm going to have to be better. Every year I'm going to have to understand how different tendencies are shifting, how things are happening, and be able to move, or I will get left behind. That same, we'll go learn and get out there, work for a company for 30 years, and that's over. The very principles and everything that we were brought up on no longer apply. And those who are still trying to play by their game are getting walked over, stepped over, pushed over, left behind. And what we've got to understand is, instead of begging for opportunities, we just looked at a situation where student loan debt relief proposed by Joe Biden was struck down by the U.S. Supreme Court, but also affirmative action, which supposedly sort of leveled the ground for blacks and other people of color to be accepted into certain educational institutions was struck down by the Supreme Court. What does that mean? That means that institutions that are given the highest level of gravity and mean the highest level of income upon graduation now can refuse to allow people in who were getting in based on affirmative action. I've given a thing on that. My thing is, I think we need to get to a point where we stop begging for admission. We stop begging for acceptance. We stop begging to be hired. We stop screaming at the top of the lungs, I'm qualified. And we start showing our qualifications by collaboration. We start showing our qualifications by creating our own spaces and becoming consultants, becoming project managers, becoming advisors, things that we don't need someone to hire us from, that we can present our expertise to our clients, and they are going to take the most qualified. I can tell you that from experience, that when you can prove you are more qualified, that time where it used to be, well, I don't like the way you look, I don't like, that's over for granted. There's still some good old boy stuff going on out there, especially in athletics and stuff like that. But as a general rule, what I'm telling you is it's weird, but my first business mentor was my grandmother and my grandfather. Those are my first business mentors. But my first mentor, who had excessively more than I had ever seen at the time I met him, was not Black. Matter of fact, the guy was Jewish. Met me at a sports bar when they probably wasn't even calling them sports bars. This is how long ago this was. And I was sitting at the bar watching the game. He was sitting at the bar watching the game, and he started up a conversation. And it started a lifelong relationship. And he taught me a bunch. But there was one thing he taught me, and I've heard this a lot. I had heard it before then, but he made it make sense. He realized that there was a part of me that was non-compliant. I didn't want to be the status quo. He asked me what I wanted to do outside of athletics, and I told him I wanted to be a business owner. He asked me what was I doing to make sure that happened. And I said, I'm investing some of my money into existing businesses. He said, that's pretty smart, venture capital. But what you need to do is you need to develop an understanding of what it takes to make a business. Because if you understand what it takes to make a business from scratch, you will always be in a position to create opportunities for yourself. Now, here I am, 47 companies brought to profitability later. But this is the beginning. He says, here's what I see with you, though. You don't want to comply. You don't want to be the status quo. You don't like wearing suits. You always have earrings on. You got all these tattoos, all this different stuff that mainstream business stuff. This is 80s, late 80s, but 80s. 89? Say, look, they're not going to want to accept you because you don't fit the mold. And it's going to be hard to get in the gate like that. And you don't want to bend. He says, but there's one bright spot. And I said, okay, what is it? What is it? Because that meant that much to me. He says, he who has the goal makes the rules. And I said, okay, what does that mean? He says, when you become valuable enough, they'll look past all the other things that they're trying to force you into. I've walked into boardrooms multiple times with sneakers and jeans on, not as a form of disrespect, but as a form of being me. Now, when there are times where it's just the right thing to do to dress up, I dress up, I clean up well. But as far as sitting up saying a suit makes me smarter, a suit makes me more equipped, I dismiss that Eurocentric idea that your suit is what makes me a better person. I make that suit look damn good because my brilliance comes with it. And you can't put my brilliance in that suit. In other words, you could take that same damn suit and give it to him and he can't be me. And then there's a confidence that comes with it that says, I got what you need. You can get it or not. And I'm going to be okay with that because I'm going to find my space, whether it's with you or with someone else. And then we started getting to a point where I would show up the first meeting and everybody's in a suit and tie and I'm in either a t-shirt or a hoodie or, maybe a jacket or something, but definitely not suited and booted the way they're booted. And then I show up next one and it's a couple other guys. They're not in t-shirts, but they're in polos. They're no longer in wingtips. They're in loafers. And eventually got to the point where a couple of them are wearing sneakers. Then it got to the point where we transitioned into where we were wearing jeans with our sport coats. I thought that was pretty cool. But what happened? What happened? We got to a point where I need the gold. This dude has the gold. And I'm not going to allow the fact that he doesn't have a suit on stop me from getting the gold. And so I created value outside of my appearance, and it allowed me to be who I am. Now, some people don't like it, and that's okay. I'm not here for everybody to like. I'm here to be the most impactful and influential in my purpose in impacting the world. So I'm not here to fit into somebody else's box. Nothing wrong with a suit. But there are people who literally believe if you're not wearing one, you're less than. I reject that. There are people who will look at a black man with tattoos and automatically assume he's a thug. I automatically reject that with my presence, because when I step up and you see me, once I speak, I've had people apologize for thoughts they had that I didn't even know they had once they had dealt with me. I apologize. I made an assumption. I was so far off. Please forgive me. And they didn't look like me. They weren't people who looked like me. And here's another thing that I can tell you is I've never once walked in there and said, please accept me. I don't care if I'm rejected. I don't care if I'm not liked. What I care about is, am I living at the highest level? Am I walking out my purpose? Am I doing things beyond what is average? Have I raised the bar by simply existing? And that is what I'm challenging you to do. Your outcomes are going to be a direct reflections of the decisions and the choices you make today. If you consistently pass up opportunities, you're going to look up 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, and you're going to be sitting in places you don't want to be without any idea of how you're going to get out of them because you didn't choose to move. This thing is moving so fast now. If you miss it now, you might not catch up with it for a while, if you catch up with it at all. And here's an opportunity to do a bunch of things. Get on it, whether you work with my programs or you find some other programs you're more comfortable with. My goal is to get as many of my people to get engaged in something that can advance them so rapidly, so quickly, with less force and stress of rejection. I've seen the studies of how applications of Blacks with obvious ethnic names are passed over in reviews and applications. I've seen at least 3 studies that show that. I've seen a lot of ways that plays out. There's so many ways to get around that by being engaged on a digital level, being engaged on the internet. While I have a number of my businesses online that do use me as the face of the business, where people know this is who we're dealing with, and it's branded with my personal brand and the brand of that particular business. There are many others where my name isn't mentioned at all. Why? Because I know that people will reject it or they will be a little off from it. So I create a brand that gives a visual that they can work with, and then they go for it, and I get what I need to invest in the future of my family, my people, my other business ideas. But if you sit up and you pass these opportunities, it will come back and bite you later. So again, I encourage you, whether you work with the programs I've created or you work with someone else, you've got to get in this game, especially this AI thing. And so if nothing more than to understand what you're up against, because 300 million jobs globally is a lot of jobs to see go away and people not know how they're going to counter move. And the thing is, the opportunities are there. The people who get in now will have an influence and be able to participate in the growth of this thing and grow themselves. One of the things people ask me, well, when I first started researching this, like 4 years ago, before it hit mainstream, when it was obvious that It was coming and it wasn't anything you're going to do about it. It's no longer just talk. AI is here, and within a couple of years, we're going to be dealing with it. I decided to research it. And so one of my friends said, well, man, how are you going to do that? Without really knowing all the ins and outs yet. I said, well, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna master enough of it that I'm going to make money teaching people how to utilize it. I'm gonna take the money I make and I'm gonna actually invest in AI. So then from that point on, AI is gonna pay me. So at the very minimum, that's one way that I'm going to make sure that AI doesn't totally push me out the box. I'm going to be on the front end of its growth. That's just one idea. And there's so many more in this course of how to use it to grow your business, to expand your business, to provide better customer service, to provide personalized customer engagement. If you don't have a business, to show you how to launch a business. If you need a business idea, to show you how to do that, how to analyze market research, how to analyze customer intel, how to create revenue streams online. It can show you all that, and it's taught in this course. Not only do you get the course, you're going to get the subsequent courses, $599 each. So you get basically $200, $600 courses for free by signing up for this one course, plus a personalized success and growth plan. This is a 6-month plan designed to consider all of your strengths and your weakness, and build a plan that if you walk it out in 6 months from now, you won't recognize yourself. But so many people out there saying what they want and don't have a plan, don't know what they're going to do tomorrow, much less next week. You can't succeed in a fast-paced society just sitting up, waking up, and showing up every day. Showing up is important, but you got to have a plan, or you're going to spin your wheels a lot, burn your energy a lot, make a whole lot more mistakes, and experience a whole lot more setbacks. With a plan, you're still going to have setbacks. You're going to have delays. But you're going to have a way of measuring and countering and knowing what's working and what's not working and making adjustments. So again, all of this stuff is there, or you can just choose to get the 7-day online business launch course. I think that's huge because that allows you to create multiple streams of income, which is not only a means of front-end means of developing long-term wealth, it's also a way of hedging your primary source of income to eliminate or guard against catastrophic loss should you lose your primary source of income. It's just basic understanding of how things work in finance. So, and I have used the 7-day online course. That's my blueprint. Talk about building these entities online. This is how I've done it, this blueprint, and I'm showing you how to do it. All of that stuff is there. I challenge you to make a move. Your choices will show up next month, next year, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Make a move and then make the adjustments. On that note, look, I'm out of here. I thank you guys for stopping in. You have been great. Get the goal. I can't tell you enough. He who has the goal makes the rules. You get the goal, they will look past a lot of the things they've been rejecting you for. When you show your value in any market, in any situation, in any arena, it will be respected. But you have to get the goal. You have to become that person in that space. And when you become that person, if they want it, guess who they have to come to? And you get to set the terms on engagement. Well, hey, we're going to meet here, and this is what we're going to be doing. It could be a golf course, could be a bowling alley, could be a rooftop restaurant, could be a burger joint, could be out at the beach, could be anywhere under your terms, because you what? Have the goal. You determine the level of influence you have in your world by how committed you become to being the best in your field. This is about competing with anyone else. It's about competing with your own potential. On that note, look, I'm going to get ready to get out of here. Thank you guys for allowing me to stand in with you for a minute. You guys have a great remainder of your day. I will be back because there's a lot more I have to share with you, but I needed to drop this on you this morning. So step out there and enjoy yourself, or whatever you're already doing. Have fun. and I will talk to you soon. As I always say, I live my life on full so that when I leave this place, I die on E. It simply means that I'm not going to leave my potential untapped. I'm going to fulfill every ounce of my purpose and live in every ounce of my potential. I challenge you to do the same thing. On that note, I'm out of here. You guys have an unbelievable remainder of your day.